Welcome to the Nonprofit Exchange. Stories by leaders for leaders to help you to raise the bar on your own performance and to release the potential inside of you. Now, here's today's episode. Well, hello everyone. It's Hugh Ballou. Here we are back with this week's episode of the Nonprofit Exchange. And as you've come to appreciate and expect and anticipate, every week is new stuff. Even if we've had the topic before, it's really new information and new insights. So our list of presenters represents a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different disciplines, a lot of different perspectives. Therefore, there's a lot of things to learn from each of us. So today's guest is no exception. The one, Robbie, tell us about yourself, including where you're coming in from today for this show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Hugh. Welcome, everyone. I am so super excited. Well, I am coming from you all the way from St. Louis, Missouri. Isn't that exciting? We are the gateway to the West. So yes, I am right here in St. Louis, Missouri. My background is education. So I come from a lineage of educators. And so on that path to education, I started, my goodness, I graduated, way back in the 1990s. And my parents and all of my family are still educators, right? I decided to only do it for a short while. And of course, that I am the disruptor, right? So I come into the family and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to be doing something else. This no longer serves me. So it's time for me to shift and do something different. And I had to have that confidence piece that is inside of me to step outside of what's normal for my family. But for me, it wasn't normal. So my background is in education, and then I started in entrepreneurship one day in the classroom. I was teaching fourth grade. It was a very rainy day, and Elizabeth was in the room, and she does not like storms or rain. It really gives her a lot of anxiety. Well, Hayden decided to tease her about it. And here they go back and forth, and I'm on the chalkboard. Well, all of this commotion came about, and I got to the point where in my spirit, I said, I'm done. I turned around, looked at the class, and said, I'm done. When I said that, they all kind of went back. When they went back, Elizabeth said, I'm done too. Take me home. And I'm like, I'm going home too. But at that moment in space and time and dimension, I knew that it was time for me to make a shift in my career. And that's in 2000. That was in 2008. And I started a coaching school and started entrepreneurship.
Started entrepreneurship. Oh.
Yes. And let me tell you, Hugh, when I did that, I really found my passion. And it takes some grounding and some sitting down and really figuring out what it is that you want to do. And you don't know right off the bat, but I knew I had a passion for animals. So in hindsight, my first business that I ever did was an alpaca business.
Alpaca?
Alpaca. Alpaca me, alpaca you. Yeah. So an alpaca is in the llama family. They're just a beautiful animal that you don't bite, they only spit, and they're about 4 feet tall. And so you breed them with the best. So it's all about breeding. And in their fiber. So you're looking for the dense, the fine, and the fiber. Yes.
So when you touch an alpaca garment, it's very, very soft. Now, it's technically wool, isn't it?
No,
it's
wool. No, but it might be in that family, but it's not, because it's very soft and fine and very dense. and you're looking for a pattern. So I used to show my alpacas and go to shows, and they would open up the coat and they would look, see how dense and fine it is. So wool is a lot more rough and kind of gritty.
Itchy.
Gritty, itchy. Oh, look at that. Look at you.
Scottish wool. So you were a woman entrepreneur.
Yes.
You're talking about women and confidence in your life now, right?
Yes. Yes. And so I empower women to have that confidence. And sometimes we as women, we fall behind it in that piece. And that's where that gap is, confidence to ask for the sale, confidence to hire a coach, confidence to walk in a room where there is many high power men, and you walk into that room and you own the room. So confidence is that piece inside of us that lets us know that 100% we are on point and we know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It comes through our communication. It comes through what we look like, our image. It comes through when we talk and speak. Everything speaks, everything matters, and your brilliance shines as soon as you come into the room. As soon as people see you, you are the confidence piece.
Well, we've lived under this false image of equality. And I think, well, why should women who bring a whole new set of skills and talents and vision, and maybe all of them are better than what the old white guys used to do, so pardon me for saying that, but men have dominated. I don't care where you came from, but and I joked about our fragile male ego, but it is that. And you come into a place that's marginal at best because it's a male dominated culture. So there's no reason women should think about dumbing down to be equal with that. So it's equity. It's how do you show up being fully present, which was what you just said. You're fully present with your gifts and talents. So there's a real glass ceiling. There's a real barrier in the workworkplace. There's also a perceived barrier on both sides. So and what you're saying, I wouldn't want to get in your way because you're just very, very on it, and my wife is the same way. If she's got an idea, she's going with it because she's going to do it because it's a calling for her. And then somehow she gets the confidence to do it along the way. So talk about, you were bold because you chose to be bold. Yeah. So what is holding women back that's perceived? And we kind of talk about what's real out there, but there's real and there's perceived. So how do we lower the burden that we bring to the table?
So first is when I work with my clients, and as I'm speaking to this live audience, know what you want. And you say, well, I'm not sure what I want. That's what I help you draw out. Because once you know what you want, then you're going to look for the results. Because in hindsight, we really don't get what we want. We get what we believe. Okay. So what do you believe to be true is your want. I have to get you there. So think about that. When I do speak with people, they always tell me, I really don't know what I want. Okay. So I dig real deep to find out what is the belief behind that. You see, as an educator, all I saw my entire life were teachers. That's it. But I knew that I wanted something else, and I did not know what it was. However, I kept by faith, and I just kept doing things till I found my want. But I knew I had to get out of education, out of the four walls of a classroom, do something that was quite fearful, but I'm going to do it. I didn't care what everyone around me would say. You got to be a disruptor. You just got to do it. find that want, and that's your purpose. Okay. And when we get to that purpose, then we're going to take action. So those are my 3 plain, I do everything in 3 steps because it's simple. I'm an educator, it's my gift, and I do everything with simplicity.
Well, that's awesome. So say those 3 again. Those are worth noting.
It's results, purpose, action. Those 3 steps will take you to your want, to your desire, and to the action piece, which is what's going to get you moving.
Yay. Yay. So what is confidence? I mean, you talk about confidence. Let's put it in perspective. How do you see confidence? Define that for us.
So confidence, you are confident. Now, when I see yourself and you don't feel confident, you feel it too. You feel it too. So confidence is a piece of energy, or you are energy, that leads us to knowing 100% that you got this. Okay. I say that very loosely and very simple because really, when you define confidence, it builds up to faith. And if you're not sure what that faith is, it's the substance of things hoped for, but you can't see it, right? So when you walk into the room, you 100% know that you got this. Those 3 words, you have this. At any situation.
Yeah.
It shows in your walk. Confidence is in your communication. Confidence is in your relationships. I'm confident that I'm speaking to you right now. So it's a vast array of everything. Okay.
You know, we almost have to repeat some of those fundamental words on a regular basis because I know from my standpoint, I manufacture things that aren't real. And so I should be confident, but I see barriers. I think Henry Ford is the one that said the obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off your goal.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So a lot of people struggle with this, no matter who they are. And part of what I'm seeing is we have the old guard that had control over things, and they could hire their mediocrity under, being pompous and authoritarian. But you got new people coming in. We're talking about women in the workforce who are confident, who are skilled, who are going to disrupt the status quo because wait a minute, we got some ideas that might work. And so talk about how corporate America struggles with this. And this not only is in corporate America, but it's in nonprofit corporate America as well.
So that's the gap. That's the gap where when we do walk in the room and we're, like you said, we're very highly skilled. We have every T crossed, I dotted. And when men see that, it becomes an inferior piece, right? And I've worked with women that have said that men will look at them and not snarl, but they know intuitively that they're not listening to them. That's the gap. And so how do we close that gap? It's communication. Having a communication. It all starts with relationship building and communication so that the male, that ego, can come down. We don't have to dumb ourselves down, but we do have to power up as women, let them know, hey, we can work together. This is not a power struggle, but it's so much so in the corporate world where closing that gap with communication is key.
So, I have experienced the challenge not only with the old guard males, but with females who resent. So, for instance, I worked in a mega church where 4 of the 12 pastors were women, hired by a male senior pastor. and women in the congregation were the worst critics of those women clergy. So it's a systemic thing as well as a people thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so when you said that, I had the picture of women in power, and then on another board you have women in power. So that's another gap. What do we do here? What do we do here? So this goes really, really deep into mindset of this is the way it's done, this is the way it's always should be done, and this is the way I'm going to do it. And we have to change that trajectory for 2021 and find new ideas, close the gap, and everyone come together.
I'm seeing a lot more nonprofits that are founded as well as led by women. Some are women founders, and some are just women who've come into one that's already been founded. But nevertheless, there are women at the helm of this ship guiding the process forward. And I think it's a good day for women's leadership in that sector, especially if you're a founder, because you can start out fresh. But not all women are able to start fresh. You've got to come into something. So how, now you talked about power. I'm wondering if it's more about influence than it is power, that we can influence people more than we can have power over them. What do you think?
100%. So let's take the power piece out, because power is the hidden piece that no one really sees. It's there. Influence, that is the biggest part. That is where you become the disruptor because of the influence. Women have a lot of influence, and when we speak, it even makes it more come to fruition because of the power that we have. So yes, it is first the influence, and then out comes the power. You see that, because I have noticed that in my walk and who I am with and in my church.
It's a time that we're living to rethink some of the systems. People are wanting to go back to normal, but there's no normal. So how do we rethink some of the systems?
That's good. That's good. So when you talk about rethinking some of the things, that's very strategic. You're right. We can't do things like we used to do it. 2021, let's go back to 2020. 2020 changed, and 2021, now we can look back and say things will never be the same. And because it is new, it is a new era that we have to, as women and as a culture, walk on and change the dynamic of what used to be. So I own a business, and when I first started the business, I came in and I had to change everything. I had to change the way it was run because it just wasn't making any profit. So when I had to step in and make it profitable, I had to remove some people and bring in the new hires, young hires, people that were excited. So when we look at that gap and that change, we have to make it happen. We may not know what it looks like, but we know that it has to happen.
We have at least two people watching this that are educators. They've started an educational, Legacy International, his school, worldwide school for young people. And then there's a communications professor on here who is taught about philanthropy, is a philanthropist, and is teaching our younger generations about communication skills. So what is at the bottom of what you're talking about? I can imagine being in a room and Robbie Walls walks in. That changes the whole composure of the room. Just because you have a powerful presence, but I would rather, sometimes power gets kind of skewed in bad ways. I would rather say that you have the ability to influence people and to add energy into the room by your presence.
Yes.
Now can others do the same thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, that's funny that you do ask that. Um, it's about your look. Okay. So when we talk about communication and when you step in the room, like you said, I am an influencer and it's my energy. Everything is energy, period. So when you walk in the room, you immediately light up the room, not just me, but other people. So I have, so it's my glasses. I love turquoise. It's my stone of power. It's my stone of protection. So I have something that I set myself apart. I don't want to look like the norm. I want to be different. That's just who I am because being, everyday mundane is boring. So I also have a friend who he has a mustache and it curls over. It's pretty memorable, right? So I like to I like to have people just leave an impression that they remember me if it's anything, anything that I wear, anything that I do, anything that I say. I most definitely want to be impactful to my people, everyone.
Now that is what I tell nonprofit leaders is what we should be talking about is
Yeah,
the impact that we have
impact.
in people's lives. That's
Yeah.
so you go into a room and somebody's pushing back and they say, Robbie, this isn't about you, which is right. It's not
Yes,
about you, is
it's
it?
not. And I love that because I have heard that. This is not about you, not to me directly, but I know it, and I will always say that this is when I'm speaking, this is not about me. I want to have interaction with you because it's not about me. And I'm a very good, one of my gifts is listening. I listen. So it is so not about me and it's not about anyone. It's about what I can do or say that will impact you to take action.
So you are a class A transformer, which helps me think about the quote from Richard Rohr, who writes an epistle that my wife and I read every day. And Richard says, transformed people transform people.
Oh, right.
So you're in the transformation business, aren't you?
Yes, and here's one of my favorite quotes. I'm going to go behind that, and it is you can get everything in life that you want if you help other people get what they want.
God bless Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar, you got it. You got it. So that takes me out of the picture. It completely removes me. And that's what I love because I don't think about me. I am so passionate about helping people and seeing their journey. It is about the journey. No one else has your journey. You don't have my journey. Your journey is your journey. So it is just about that.
And as a performer, I had to learn that. It ain't about you, Baloo. You know,
Right.
go on stage. So in May of 2007, I was invited to be on the faculty of CEO Space, and there were about 600 people in the audience, the big screens and the cameras around. And I had then the person who founded it put me on stage, didn't realize I had spent 40 years with my back to the audience as a conductor. So here I am, I got to turn around, and everybody's staring at you. So I had to come up with a really different shtick. So I wore my tuxedo and, got people engaged by singing right off the bat. And
I
so
love it.
in a later year, so I had to get over being nervous because nervous was like lack of confidence. Well, Blue, you know the stuff. So a couple of years later, I was on the schedule following none other than Les Brown. And if Les Brown, he ignites the audience. They're on fire. And I made the mistake of being in the room and they're going on break. I go to get dressed in my tails and I'm thinking, oh my word, I'm in a heap of trouble. And then I'm tying my tie and I look in the mirror and I look at myself and I say, you're going to go out there and you're going to be Hubaloo. And it was the best I ever did. I didn't, I'm not Les Brown. I can't do that. And people loved it. And I was the best. So it's getting over part of this confidence thing is making sure we don't think it's all about us, right?
Absolutely. When you take yourself out the picture, that's when the magic happens. That's when the magic happens because now you're not there. It's all the spirit. The Holy Spirit is just leading you. And that's what I do. When I come here, that's what I ask for. It's not about me. I want to touch someone out there, have that confidence piece, and to know that you got this, and everyone needs a coach to help them, accountability coach to just continue to pull them out of the muddy grubs, get you back on your feet, and get you doing what makes you happy. Because your ultimate goal is your freedom.
Whoa. And you're free by being who God created you to be.
Yes.
Now you can find Robbie at Robbie Speaks is her email, ROBBIE at robbiespeaks.com. And then you have a long website. So it's on the platform for wherever you get your podcasts will be the website for Robbie. And you can find out more about Robbie and what she does. So what category of expert do you fall under? Are you a coach? You're a consultant? What are you? What is, people say, Robbie, what is your profession? How do you answer
that? Well, I am in the space of coaching, but I am literally an accountability person that will help you every step along the way. I also work with resilience, and that's a piece of confidence that I didn't mention. That I want to throw out there because I actually have a free guide. It is a very educational guide that will guide you to resilience. And sometimes we need we need backbone. We need backbone as women. We need backbone all the time. So I have a free guide to resilience, and I'll give you the link to that, Hugh, to go out and just download it and enjoy it. It's very colorful. I've done a lot of work on it. It's fabulous, I think. And it was just inspired. It was inspired for me to do that. And I really enjoy it myself and go back and say, okay, I got this too. Yeah.
To say you enjoy yourself is probably an understatement.
Well, because we're not perfect. And so I have to, when I am in I don't call it a diary, but I call it my daily one. It's actually on my phone, and I talk into it, and it says what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. Sometimes I gotta go back because I need some backbone. You need some resilience, and that's a very big piece in confidence.
So you work with women in leadership positions in all kind of organizations, correct?
I do. Yes.
Now you talked about taking over an organization and having to change the staff to be able to change the financial picture. Now, there's another myth that we tell ourselves in the nonprofit leaders and clergy that we can't be focused on any money things. When in matter of fact, we do want to eat and we want to buy gas for our car. And there's a necessary revenue generation piece. It's the business of church or the business of the nonprofit that we tend to underestimate. So how do you speak to that piece of revenue in that tax exempt space?
So everything is based on where you see your ROI, okay? And when you put your marketing dollars into something, you always want to look for that ROI, but does it solve a problem, okay? Look for things that solve a problem. And when it solves a problem, that's where I want you to put your money into. Put your money into the marketing piece. Put your money and your heart and soul into making that happen, because that's where you're going to see your biggest return.
Yes, there's a lot of things we tell ourselves in nonprofits that aren't true, because that word nonprofit kind of puts us into scarcity thinking. So what are some of the mental objectives that women in leadership need to think about reversing?
Oh, good. That's a very good question. The first one is break down barriers, okay? Because the whole fear is that you think that you can't do what you know that you can, okay? And I say that backwards and then back and revert, and then back forward, because the answers. The answers are always inside of us, but we sometimes pull back and thinking that we can't solve that problem. but you're here to solve that problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's that confidence piece that comes out. We are afraid to make mistakes. Everyone, I am here to tell you, if you don't make the mistakes, you can't grow. Okay? You have to make the mistakes in order to grow. And when we are at that point where, okay, now I'm growing, you'll be comfortable by making mistakes. It's part of the journey.
I've reframed those because I've now accept the introduction as expert because I've made more mistakes than anybody else, which I've classified as learning opportunities.
Exactly, learning opportunities, right? Yes, and that's why I have my podcast. My podcast is Bold Girl Biz, and it's about women that are in entrepreneurship that have taken these roles as CEOs, but they've made these mistakes along the way. And so the people that are listening are thinkers that say, I don't want to make this mistake, or I don't want to get into that business because someone's going to sue me. Oh my goodness, I heard that so many times. And that is the fear, that's a barrier that you don't know enough about. When you have business insurance, you're covered, but they don't know that. So yeah, I work with that a lot.
So the reason we have a corporation is to give us liability protection if we do the safeguards. And also, if we left the house in the morning, we're liable to get in trouble. So at some point, we need a platform to influence other people.
Yes, right.
So it's Bold Girl B-I-Z.
B-I-Z, that's right. Bold Girl Biz podcast.
Okay, and we can find it anywhere we get podcasts, right?
Yes, it's on all the platforms. Or you can text BOLD, that's BOLD, to 55312, and that will take you to my site, and all the podcasts that I've been working on are right there on that platform. So just texting BOLD to 55312. And on the screen is my phone number. I'm very personable. I would love to talk with anyone. Any question, just take me up on it. You can actually get a free 15-minute strategy call, and we'll talk. I'm just so passionate about helping people, and women in particular, but the men are welcome as well.
Well, thank you. It's very gracious. I think women helping women, Bold Girl Biz. And then you can get Robbie's virtual card. It's a MobiPop card by sending a text to 55312. Yes, it's 5 digits, 55312.
You got it.
In the message part, put in BOLD. And then you'll get a return text, and you hit on that link, and you'll have probably all of your contact information as well.
Absolutely. Everything is right there.
And you'll have their number, so you can stay in touch with them when you got something important coming up. So we will have this interview transcribed in 24 hours, and you'll get some of the sound bites that Robbie has given you today. And so, Robbie, as you've given us some really good things to think about today, and confidence is a choice, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think it is. Let me go back. Let me think about that. Is it a choice? Yes, it is a choice that you have to believe in yourself that you have. So yes.
And God didn't create any junk. So
that's right.
Believe in yourself. So Robbie Walls, a lot of good stuff. You can find this at the nonprofitexchange.org is the link that'll take you to the summary page. And then you can look at all of the interviews. You can read the transcript. You can subscribe to the podcast, or you can watch the video that's been edited. So Robbie, as we're ending up here, what tip do you want to leave to leaders, especially women leaders?
Oh, let me see. Oh my goodness, I have so many tips, but I think the biggest tip that I want to leave is that remember that you can't fail You can only get results.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing your experience and your wisdom and your challenge with us today on the Nonprofit Exchange. Robbie Walls, and you can text 55312 with the word bold.
Oh.
You'll be in touch, BOLD. You'll be in touch with this bold woman.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Hugh. This has been a lot of synergy. So thank you so very much. I am just thrilled. My number is also on the screen, 314-277-3222. Feel free to text me. Just say hi. Hi. Just say, what's up, Rob? I got you. We can talk.
It says in the background, dream, I got this. Robbie, thank you for inspiring a lot of people today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Nonprofit Exchange.